So when he developed that, I again took that personally. I thought, oh my God, what could I have done to have? So, you know, before we took him to a neurologist and assessed what the problem was, it was a very tough time in my life.
Sure.
And I would follow him to school, you know, without him knowing. I'd hide around the corner.
Oh, really?
Well, because, you know, when he would develop that tick, it didn't look right. He wasn't aware of it, and he would only do it when he's excited. At the age of 9.
A facial tick?
It was a facial tick, and he was like, his head and shoulders would tick.
Kind of
And he was completely unaware, but it would only happen when he was excited.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, when he's playing games with his friends, there's a lot of excitement. So the ticks would come on, and I didn't want, because kids are cool at that age, and I thought, the second I see a kid pounce on my kid, I'm there. You know, but no, I was going to say, you know, he's dealing with a medical condition, and I would really, I mean, I don't know if it would have been right or wrong, but I felt like educating the people around him was my job, you know, because he didn't know, he wasn't aware. And so needless to say, the test came back and one part of his brain was developing faster.
Oh, interesting.
I know.
Yeah.
I would have never, I mean, how do you know until you experience it?
Yeah.
So that he would, you know, outgrow it in time. And
that's fascinating. Because I was under the impression that facial tics were always a result of some, like, horrible, like, you know, trauma, and, you know, and all these different things. That's fascinating. I had no idea.
That one part of his brain, and it was a very tiny speck of, you know, it was his nervous system.
Just catching up?
Yeah, it was his nervous system that was growing too, his brain was growing too fast and his nervous system was affected, and hence the tics.
Wow.
So yeah, he outgrew it. It's a miraculous story, but I have a very strong faith, and I prayed on it. I fell on my knees on Christmas Eve, and I said, "Dear God, give it to me. Give it to me, because I don't care if I tick. I don't care if I, you know, arms go flying, and I don't care, because God, you know, God help anyone that makes fun of me when that happens, right? But just take it, please take it away from him. And on Christmas Day, I'll never forget.
Yeah.
We're sitting around the Christmas tree, and I didn't want to look at him opening up his presents because I knew that was going to create excitement. It killed me. It caused me pain, even though it wasn't causing him pain. And first present didn't look, second present didn't look, third present, finally my ex-husband, or husband at the time, says, he's patting me on the leg when Mitri's not ticking. I'm like, I said, Mitra, he's not ticking. So I looked over, and fifth present, there was a lot of presents under the tree. Yeah. At that time, I put an end to that too. Yeah. And it went away, and it's never come back since.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty miraculous.
Yeah. Flip side of that question.
Yes.
Do you ever remember a time where you were like, I'm getting pretty good at this? I mean, like where you just you really just stepped back and kind of went. I mean, you shared one where you know, he called you and that type of thing. Yeah. Well, can you think of like the first one, or like maybe one of the first impactful ones where?
Not so much when they were little.
Yeah.
You know, because they're all over the place. You know, it's like a yo-yo. You know, like good one day, bad the next. You're like, ah! Because, you know, they're learning about themselves. They're learning how to control and deal with those emotions, because it's all new to them. My God, they're new beings, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, when they were going through the turmoils, you know, it was great one day and not so much the next day. But I started to experience that, you know, when my daughter was 11, when she was 11, and she was able, despite of what the ex and I were going through, and despite of the influence he was trying to have on her, and, you know, it was in a negative manner. Much like all divorces, it's never pretty.
It's hard. Yeah,
but you know what I was grateful for is the fact that she came up to me, and she, in her words, a lot of what I had implemented, a lot of the words that I had used with her growing up, she in turn turned around and used those words.
That's nice.
In the way she was, you know, she was relaying her current dilemma. Person.
Using your vocabulary.
Using my vocabulary, and I was like, wow.
That's cool.
So, you know, I was at that very moment, I thought, all the, you know, it's all paid off. Yeah, I swear, I remember when, you know, when the conversation's over and I walked out of the bedroom, I thought, she was paying attention. Yeah. She's been paying attention all this time, because you don't know, you know. And I would tell everyone, despite of, and even this also applies to people that are going through a tough time in their marriage. Yeah. Don't take advantage of the fact that they're only 5 or 6 or 9 or 10 for that matter. Eventually, they will be able to make up their minds. And guess which parent they're going to gravitate towards. And the one that didn't waste any time in creating more drama and creating more negativity and bad-mouthing the other parent. Because they are human beings, and whether you like it or not, they do grow, and whether you like it or not, they'll form their own opinion, their own objections, to a point where none of what you say is going to mean, because now they're in a position to make up their own minds. And my daughter, at the age of 11, despite of what she'd been subjected to, was in the position to make up her own mind.
Right.
And I allowed her that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the choice is up to her. Do you want to live with your dad? Or do you want to live with mom? You know, and I never once spent a second, and everyone that's been around me knows that, in bad-mouthing him. And at the end, everything that he did to try and cause, you know, a wedge between the kids and I backfired. Now they're with me full time, you know, and they want to be in an environment where it's positive. They want to be in an environment where they feel safe. So by parents going back, you know, back and forth, thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to win this fight because of all the negative things I've said about the other parent, not so much. He'll bite you in the tushy when the time comes, and you have no one to blame but yourself. And at the end of the day, we always have to remember, whether it's good or bad, it's not about you. It isn't. It's about them. Put their needs, put their wants first and foremost. You know, a lot of parents in particular, and in today's society, and again, I'm subjected to that, don't take the parenting role very seriously. You know, they leave it up to other people to raise their kids, or they take for granted that, oh yeah, you know, he's 11 years old or she's 11 years old, they can take. No. You know, for as long as they're under my roof, I'm still their parent. And I still will have an influence on them, directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
And I take that job very seriously. It's my job, and it's a lifetime commitment. You know, again, the culture that I come from, you know, I told my kids, you live with me for as long as need be, and when you get married, and you know, if you decide to leave your home, but until then, I'll forever provide a roof over your head. You know, if you need to put money aside for your education, because I'm a single mom now and not in the same position I was financially. But you know, I mean, if they want to live with me forever, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they're my responsibility. Right. Even when they're 20, 30, 40, and if I can be there for them in any way, I'm not going to say, well, son, you know, no, come to me. I'm still, you know, I'm your parent first and forever will be, and your friend next. Not the other way around. You know, I have lots of best friends. I don't need to have my daughter be my best friend.
Sure.
You know,
it's nice to have that relationship with them, but ultimately, you're right. I mean, you're a parent. And then you're a parent who gets along with them a lot of the time.
Yes.
But ultimately, yeah, you have a job first.
But you know, when you do get along with them most of the time, it makes it a lot easier for you to communicate with them during those hard times. You know, if you keep that communication line open, it'll be a lot easier for them to come to me, to come to you in time of need, and put everything out on the table and go, you know, Mom, what would you do? It's not what I would do. How do you think you should deal with this? You know, how are your actions going to, you know, what's the outcome going to be? You know, because I don't talk to it that way. Well, I want them to think. I want them to make their own mistakes. I want them to learn from their own mistakes. Don't learn from my mistakes.
I remember I heard a funny quote once where somebody said that to their mom. They said, "Mom, what would you do?" And she said, "Well, probably make really the wrong decision." You know, because when I was your age, I was not too bright.
Yeah.
So I would have done the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, and that's being honest.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
you know, so don't ask me what I would do.
No.
Let's see if we can figure out what you should
do.
Yeah, and I think that takes a lot of level of maturity, because I think a lot of parents feel the need to be perfect, to be like, no, I don't make mistakes. I'm mom.
We all do.
You know, and to give that aura, you know, and you see that in martial arts as well, like the martial arts instructors. No, we never make mistakes. I tripped on the stairs last night.
Yeah.
You know, you know, it happens, right?